This week's video is focused on the leadership mystique. In the following critique, Team Omega Mobile, consisting of Erica Warren, Jamelia Burney, and myself, Chelsea Tyler, will analyze the article and share our thoughts concerning it. Our text, Article 11, The Leadership Mystique, is written by Manfred F. R. Ketz de Vries. He is a Dutch psychologist and a professor of leadership development and organizational change in NCED. He is best known for bringing a different view to the much-studied subjects of leadership and the dynamics of individual and organizational change. In 2009, he was rated amongst the top 50 thinkers in management. Successful leaders fulfill two types of roles. The first being the charismatic role. This role demonstrates how leaders envision, empower, and energize to motivate their followers. The instrumental role effectively controls and rewards behavior accordingly, and it also serves as an organizational designer. Great leaders recognize that envisioning without empowerment only leads to poor vision enactment. Team Mobile agreed that a leader with these similar traits would be a great candidate to follow. One flaw that we notice in this section of the article is that the author assumes that the reader has pre-knowledge of the characteristics of an instrumental role, and therefore he does not go into depth as he did with charismatic roles. This forces the reader to research outside of the article to get a better understanding, which can serve as an inconvenience. The author describes in detail behavioral problems and traits that describe leaders in a global sense. Leaders have been known to process large amounts of information while looking for strategic niches and creating a structure. It was said that a CEO can become derailed by hidden motives and not only make his life miserable, but his staff also by disrupting the equilibrium of the organization. Team Omega Mobile disagrees because we feel that most CEOs have a board of trustees who approve business relations. We feel that they would interfere if they felt the manager threatened the prosper of the company. The author's basis to a clinical approach to management states that all behaviors are somehow determined, which in our opinion is irrational. And he also states that there is a such thing as the unconscious, which means in order to understand behavioral problems, one must examine the interpersonal process which determines the way we act or make decisions. In this section of the article, the author emphasizes on his observation of organizational leaders. In his teachings, he pushes for executives to find a deeper meaning behind their actions, to allow them to understand that they get into trouble because of unconscious processes they neither see, understand, nor accept. From experience, he learned that it is very difficult for most executives to neutralize the darker side of leadership. The author asked his students to act as detectives by studying well-known business leaders in their companies to make sense out of their behavior and actions. The challenge was to find the underlying reasons for their peculiar leadership style and to better understand the critical dimensions that made up their inner script. Team Mobile feels that this process could be very prominent in a business course. It allows the participant to self-evaluate and have greater awareness. A participant may begin to see the symptoms of similar patterns of behavior and character traits in themselves. The author wants executives to face their weaker points, obtain deeper insights about their ways of functioning, understand their defensive structure and character traits, and recognize how their behavior affects their organization. Making it to the top positions within our company is something we all desire to do one day. There tend to be some psychological pressures that evolve when obtaining and maintaining such positions within a company. The first being loneliness of command, which is described as the moment someone is promoted to an upper level position, old relationships are going to be disturbed. Our team was very impartial with this statement. One believed that supervisors should continue to maintain a close relationship with their employees so that employees will feel comfortable to share things and enjoy coming to work. And another agreed that when power and authority is given to a person, it tends to disturb relationships because of envy, which is our second point. Many people look at the power and trappings of leadership and become envious. Leaders begin to experience problems of envy from those beneath their position, causing one to a great deal of stress. The third point is fear. Fear that others will take away what has cost the leader so much to gain, and fear of losing power of office. The fourth pressure is an executive who has finally made it to the top may have the sense of what now? Since the goals that the leader has worked for have been accomplished, they feel that there is nothing else to strive for. Lastly, most frequently, leaders develop a problem called phenomenon of false connection, meaning followers may perceive and respond to their leader according to the reality of a situation. As a team, we don't feel that all leaders experience every psychological pressure mentioned in this article in a single position, but throughout a person's career, one most likely will experience each pressure. These situations play into a person's personality and their ability to handle stressful situations. According to the article, the shaping of an individual's personality begins early in life. Child psychologists have pointed out that the first 3 years of life are particularly critical to development. The changes that take place during this stage of life is known as narcissism, in which core patterns are shaped, you emerge as a person with a sense of your own body, and gender identity, name, mind, and personal history is developed. A healthy dose of narcissism is essential for human functioning. Having too much or too little of narcissism could easily throw a person off balance, which causes instability in the core of an individual's personality. The role of parents or caretakers in the development of narcissism is extremely important. The treatment received during these critical periods of development will paint an image of the world throughout a person's adulthood. Although T-Mobile agrees that those years are critical and that it is true that a sense of foundation is laid at that age, we also feel that later life encounters can impact major changes as well. Many of the things we experience between the ages of 0 to 3 are forgotten, which completely contradicts the theory of narcissism. Reactive narcissists tend to take advantage of others in order to achieve their own ends. They also live under the illusion that their problems are unique and they deserve favorable treatment. These types of individuals seem to feel like the rules don't apply to them and tend to have a sense of rage when they don't get their way. While on the other hand, constructive narcissism radiates a sense of positive self-regard and a secure sense of self-esteem. These types of individuals tend to become excellent leaders and are well balanced. Our team agrees that there are several representations of leaders in both categories, but constructive narcissism considerably outweighs the other. In classifying various neurotic types, the author made a distinction among the dramatic, suspicious, detached, depressive, and compulsive organizations, each with its unique features. Dramatic is described as needing attention, excitement, activity, and stimulations. They feel a sense of entitlement. Suspicious are always prepared to counter any and all attacks and personal threats. Detached is withdrawn and not involved. They lack interest in the present and future. Depressive lacks self-esteem, self-confidence, or initiative. They fear success. And lastly, compulsive tends to dominate organizations from top to bottom and insist that others conform to tightly prescribed rules. Some leaders struggle with the demon of irrationality. It is said that some leaders tend to make the same mistake over and over, but we feel most managers learn from their repetitive patterns and behaviors that have caused them to fail. An effective manager will correct the mistakes that they have made immediately. Freud stated that all my life I have been struggling with the demon of irrationality. Wise leaders do the same. They realize the extent to which unconscious, irrational processes affect their behavior. Team Omega Mobile felt that this article was informative, but it contained an excessive amount of unnecessary information. There were several questions asked throughout the article that the author left unanswered. From our previous readings, as a team, this article was our least favorite and left the reader with so many unanswered questions. We also feel that effective leaders play a more diverse role than those discussed in this article. In conclusion, leaders must recognize the potential destructiveness of their actions and understand the extent to which past experiences can influence their present and future. We thank you for watching and we hope you enjoyed our video critique of the leadership Mystique.